Fellow students, good day. This is Prof. Kabit. I'm going to embark on a lecture on how you can use mind map in writing your introduction and your problem statement. The reason I'm presenting this lecture is because many students are struggling to write in a structured manner, and hence the request for this lecture. So I'm going to try to provide you some tips that you can use and come up with a write-up that is well structured and in which your information is flowing logically. Okay, so before I proceed, I would like us to look at some of the importance of using mind map when you are writing. Okay, so the importance of mind map in academic writing. So the first point um, that I want you to look at is point number one. The mind map will help you in outlining the distinct central ideas or themes that you want to cover in your write-up. So if you are doing an introduction, you must have themes that you want to cover in your introduction. So obviously these are themes that will be related to the title for your research proposal. So my focus is actually on research proposal. It could be the introduction of a paper, but the focus of this lecture is the research proposal. So you have the introduction section in your research proposal. The introduction section is usually, it ranges from 1 to 2 pages or 1 to 1.5 pages, you know. So the first thing that you need to know is that the mind map will help you to outline um, your introduction into distinct central ideas or themes. Okay, so that's the first one. The second one will be if you arrange your ideas and if you arrange your introduction into central themes that you want to cover into your introduction, it will help you to do what? To prevent repetition of facts or information. So that's what the outline or the mind map will assist you in doing. You will not be repeating facts of information in different paragraphs or under different headings. So you have different headings if you are doing like a literature review, but if you are writing an introduction or problem statement, you'll be dealing with paragraphs since we don't have headings in the introduction and the problem statement. So if you outline that introduction into distinct ideas or themes that you want to cover, it will help you to prevent repetition of facts or information. Okay. So now let's look at the third one. Number three, the third one, it will improve logical flow of information. Yes. If you can prevent repetition of facts and information, it will also help you to arrange the flow of information in a logical way. So by the time you are trying to design the mind map, you would know immediately that, oh, this information should be at the top, or the other one should be at the bottom. So it will help you to arrange the information in a logical way, the flow of information in a logical way. Then the fourth point, point number four, you will be able to look at the structure of the introduction, you know, in a bird's eye view, you know, overall. You should be able to see how the structure is panning out and know whether you are in the right direction. Because for a proposal, you'll be having a title, you know. So you look at the structure and then you interrogate whether all the aspects of the title has been covered in the introduction, all the concepts in the title has been covered in the introduction, you know, so that the introduction will be holistic and a better reflection of the title. Okay, the fifth one, point number 5, it improves the academic writing skill, you know, because the more you use a mind map, the more you understand how the structure is supposed to look like when you do writing. So in that way, you improve your writing skill because you can see that this introduction or this problem statement is structured or is not well structured. So you use that skill in the future to maybe you are reading the work of other people. You will know immediately that they didn't follow proper academic writing skill, you know, they don't have appropriate academic writing skill, or they didn't follow a proper academic writing style. So that's what I'm trying to put forward here. Okay. Um, let's see how you can use mind map in the introduction of a proposal. Okay. Like I said, that our focus will be a research proposal. Okay, so first of all, what is the purpose of the introduction? So we just need to remind ourselves what is the purpose of the introduction in a research proposal. So the introduction is there to give the background of the topic, you know, just to give some background on the topic in general, you know, and various known concepts and theories are covered in the background. So various concepts from previous publication, various theories from previous publications that are related to the topic, you need to cover it in the introduction. Then in the introduction, current research trends and findings, you know, in relation to the topic that we are busy with. So you want to look at the burning issues, you know, the current trends, you know, the current findings that or theories or concepts in current publication, you know, relating to your topic. You want to cover it. So all this is just kind of build up towards your own research. So if you're just saying these are the key concepts that have been published in research papers. So you build that up and try to bring your own research. So it's just a kind of a way that you are saying that this is a scientific discipline or this is a research discipline. These are the researches that are currently going on. These are the concepts that are covered in these researches. These are the important theories. These are the current findings. And hence, I want to do my own research, you know. So that's the whole purpose of an introduction. Okay. Now let's look at the mind map. You know. So to me, if you want to start to write, you have a research topic. So this is your research topic in the middle. Okay. You must start with a mind map. Because if you just start to write, then you're getting information, you're just adding. It becomes very problematic for you to come up with a proper structure. So if you want to write, you must have a research topic, okay? From that research topics, you are going to pick keywords that you're going to search for articles, okay? So if you want to know about searching for articles, you must maybe listen to the other video that I've made on academic writing or proposal writing. I have 2 videos. You must check those ones. So I assume that at this stage, you know how to use keywords uh, in the research title to search for papers. So when you search for papers, that is where you are going to look at those important concepts, those important theories, those important findings in current papers that you want to discuss. So you should be having a general introduction. Okay, in your general introduction, you're just maybe defining and introducing things in relation to the research that you want to do based on the title that you have. You just want to introduce some important information That's what we normally have in the introduction. So you normally have a paragraph doing that, just introducing some basic concepts, some basic issues. Okay. Then now you need the themes. Now, when you read other papers, you see that, oh, this paper covered this theme, and that thing. Because when you read the papers, you go to the introduction of those papers. Okay. And sometimes you go to the discussion of, of the paper, and then you look at the important themes that are covered. Then you write the themes here. Mhm. You write the themes. So the second paragraph should cover the first theme. Okay. That you think that I want to expand this theme or this central idea into a paragraph. So the first thing that you do, you need to find what these themes are. Okay, you need to find out what these themes are that you want to be paragraphs on. That's your first mission. Okay, you find out what these themes are. So for a for an introduction, I'll say for introduction of 1.5 page with 1.5 spacing of an A4 document, you should plan to have like 6 themes. Okay, because I'm assuming that you should have maybe let's say 10 to 15 lines for each paragraph, right? This is reasonable, 10 to 15 lines. So if you have 10 times 6 will give you 60 lines. So you are already around a page and a half with 1.5 spacing of font size of 12. Okay, it's just approximate. I'm not saying it has to be exact. So for your general introduction, you can have up to 10 lines. And then yeah, for your first theme, you should be able to write 10 to 15 lines of information. It could be more, it could be up to 20. It depends on how much information you can get. Okay, so if you come to the third theme, you should be able to write 10 to 15 lines of information. You know? So writing each theme, you need to take that theme or that center idea and write a paragraph out of it. So if you want to know how to write a paragraph, then you need to listen to the other video on academic writing. So now I assume that I'm focusing this lecture on mind mapping. So if you want to know how to write a paragraph, then you must listen to the other video. Okay. So now I'm assuming that you know how to take a theme or a central idea, do further search and gather information and write a paragraph out of that theme. Okay. Then, so what I'm actually saying is that the first thing that you need to do is to identify your themes. So sometimes I used to tell my students to identify the themes and send to me. Okay, then I will do my own research and see if the theme is balanced. By balance, I mean that if they've covered all the various concepts that are related to their research title. So if they are missing important concepts, then I'll tell them, why don't you look at this? Why don't you look at that? Why don't you look at that? That's why I'm saying that the themes must be a fair reflection of the various concepts that are related to the topic. Okay, so this is a typical introduction. Mind map for a typical introduction. So I'm, I'm telling most of my students that you should definitely start with a mind map. Okay, and the reason is very simple. If you want to build a house and you just started the project and you keep on adding rooms, keep on adding parts of the house without using a floor plan, without having a foundation, it becomes very difficult. So it's the same thing with academic writing. So you must have a plan, okay? Then you start to fit pieces into that plan. Then you have a very solid structure at the end of the day. Okay. Now let's see how we can use a mind map to write a problem statement. Okay. Problem statement is a very tricky one because sometimes you find students that will just write things in random order, just write one problem after another, just write and write and write and write. Then when you even ask yourself, what is the problem? It becomes too difficult to see what the problem is clearly because sometimes they don't explicitly say that these are the problems that this research intends to solve, you know. So I thought I should also do a mind map to just to explain to my students how you can go about this. So, but first of all, what is a problem statement, you know? Because many students, they write a problem statement and you can't really clearly identify what are the problems, what are the causes of the problem, the consequences of such a problem in relation to the study population, you know. Those are things that must be explicit when you write problem statement. So problems are stated clearly in the problem statement, okay? And the causes and consequences of the problem must be explained. Because the moment you don't explain the causes and consequences of a particular problem, then it becomes difficult for someone to be able to understand what the problem is all about, you know. And you must justify that the problem is serious using evidence from previous publication. And that evidence would be mostly aligned to the consequences, you know. So that's why they say the problems in research, we say problems must be socioeconomic in nature, you know. Socioeconomic, socioeconomic means it must affect the social life of the people or the economic life of the people, all right? Economic life of the people. Then other one is just knowledge gap, you know. The knowledge gap could be a problem, maybe in science, you know, or in technology or engineering, you know. It might not be a problem as such, but maybe you're taking longer to produce a product. It's a problem, but not maybe affecting a particular target population directly. So that's why we say knowledge gap is also an important problem that you can have in research. Okay. So you have the social problem, you have the economic problem, then you have knowledge gap. Knowledge gap can lead to a problem that is not direct. For instance, if there's a way that products are being processed and it's costing more, so research, you can make it as a problem statement to say this thing is costing more to produce this product. So we want to do a research to see how we can reduce the cost of producing that same product. So that would be um, a good example. Yeah, that would be a good example of knowledge gap. Okay. So now you know that the problem statement is to basically outline the problems, you know, explain the causes and consequences of that problems in relation to the study population. So that's it. So those students who just write so many things without really arranging them into distinct problem and without explaining the causes and consequences, you know, and how the target population is affected, then you know that you are not writing a good problem statement. Okay, so now let's look at the mind map of a problem statement. Okay, so it's similar to that of the introduction. So for a problem statement, you need to have an introductory paragraph, okay, which is number 1A, where you briefly explain. So this one can be maybe, I'll just say maybe 7 to 10 lines, you know, just explain what the problems that you want to discuss, you know, just basically introducing and naming them, okay, and just say whatever you want to say without going into details. Then thereafter, you pick the problem one after another. And this is where many students are getting it wrong. You just bundle everything and write it in one paragraph. Maybe, you know, but if there are distinct problems, surely you want to discuss each one in separate paragraph, you know. So you state the first problem, okay, in the first paragraph, you state the problem, you know, then you explain the causes and consequences of the problem. Yeah, so I've covered this also in the academic writing lecture on how to write paragraphs out of problem statement themes. So you actually have the problem. So it's similar to writing a paragraph in the introduction, but instead of the central idea here will be the problem, right? Or the theme here will be the problem. Then you state the problem, you explain it, you discuss the causes and consequences of the problem. It should be one paragraph for the first problem. So you should discuss the first problem using 10 to 15 lines. Okay. Then you come to the second problem, the same thing. You discuss the second problem, 10 to 15 lines. Okay. So there's no mixing of information. All information about this problem ends in this paragraph. By the time I'm targeting the next paragraph, I'm discussing another information. So you see that my information will flow in a logical way. Okay. But in some research, you might have only one problem that they're dealing with. Others you might have two, others you might have four, others you might have 5 or 6. So depending on how big the project is. But in most researches for the master's level, their problems ranges from 1 to 3 problems that they deal with. A PhD can go up to 4, but rarely 5 and 6, unless it's a really big project. So you have your research topic. So what are the problems that you want to deal in this research? So this is how you make your problem map. So you do the same thing, you search, you read articles that are related to the topic, but the only thing now is that you are looking for problems, right? You are not just looking for central ideas like it was in the introduction. And very importantly, please don't take problem themes or problem central ideas. Let me use problem themes and also use them in the introduction. So avoid putting problem themes in the introduction, okay? I know for articles, you can do that. If you are writing a journal article, the introduction of a journal article, you can do that. But if you are writing a proposal, because you have a separate heading for problem statement, so you don't put problem statement in your introduction. Otherwise, you'll be doing repetition. So if I use a problem statement theme in my introduction, and then when I'm writing problem statement, I will be forced to repeat the same thing. Then now you'll be having repetition in your proposal, which is not good. So you sift out all the problem themes and bring them when to the problem statement section. Okay, so you identify the problem themes, outline them. What are the problems that are related to this research that I want to do? Okay, the problems that I want to solve by doing this research. You identify them when you are reading, when you are reading the papers that are related to this research topic. You'll be identifying the problems that other researchers were solving. And then you see whether those problems are similar to the kind of problems that you want to solve with your own research in the issue. Then you start to have an idea of the problems that are existing. Okay. And then at the end of the day, you decide which of the problems that you want to tackle when you are doing your research objective. So most often we don't start research by writing an introduction. So I just want to make this point. Most often we identify a research area. Okay, I want to do research in this area because this is my area of expertise. I go there, I read articles. The first thing that you do is to look for the problems that you want to solve by doing a research. So in actual fact, your research should start by identifying the problems that you want to solve. Then you can go back after you've identified the problem that you want to solve. Then you can fine tune your title. Then you are sure that this is the title and these are the problems. Then you can go back and write your introduction. And then you develop your proposal. So that's how it works. Because some people, they already have their title. They say, this is the title I want to do the research on. Then you ask them, what are the problems that you want to do with your research? They don't know. So you see, it means they didn't do their homework. So if you have a title, it's just an idea. You need to go and read articles using keywords, from those titles. Then from there, you try to locate what are the potential problems that I can do my research to solve. You see, then from there, if you can identify the problems, you write out a problem statement, then you can fine tune your title, then you write your introduction, and then you proceed. So the purpose of this lecture actually is just to make you understand that you need to have a mind map of the problems. Okay. And you work from that mind map to build a distinct paragraph. Okay, and each paragraph should be built from a problem theme. Okay, so in that way, you should be able to see whether you've covered all the potential problems that are related to that research topic. Then in that way, you shouldn't be having a problem. Then you'll be able to write a well-structured problem statement where the problems are well articulated, explained, and discussed, and the causes, the consequences, and the effect of the effects of the problems on the target population has been properly explained and justified using information from past publications. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope this one will be of help. And if you have any problem, you have my contact details, you can get to me. So this is the end of this lecture.